Hi, I'm Mark, and today I need to talk about Brexit consequences again. The British government published a new strategy paper at the beginning of April because the Pioneer Research Programme outlined in it is intended to regulate international cooperation for British researchers should no association with Horizon Europe come about in the end. The UK government's explicit preference remains an association with Horizon Europe, though. Negotiations between the UK and the EU on this are ongoing. In order to enable British researchers to participate in Horizon Europe despite the ongoing association process, the British government has given all UK partners from successfully acquired projects a funding guarantee since November 2021. The current guarantee promise is valid until the end of June 2023. In the strategy paper that has now been published, the British government presents its Plan B for the worst possible outcome of the association negotiations: failure. Only then should Pioneer start and support the British science, research, technology and innovation sector. The British government has thus launched its own alternative to the Horizon Europe Research and Development Programme. A European Commission spokesman said the EU had informed the UK government that it would not have to pay a contribution for the period when it was not involved in the scheme, which is 2021 and 22, of course. The statement followed a meeting in Brussels between Britain's Science and Technology Minister Michel Donnellan and EU Research Commissioner Maria Gabriel earlier this month, at which the UK delegation said it wanted to renegotiate its contributions to Horizon to reflect the 2 years outside of the programme. The UK's access to Horizon Europe was part of the Trade Cooperation Agreement, the TCA, the possible access, which governs post-Brexit relations between the EU and the UK. However, the British universities and researchers were excluded from the programme after the European Commission linked the association status provided for in the TCA to the implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. And they were legally right doing that, by the way. Following the signing of the Windsor Framework Agreement between the UK and the Commission in February, which has now been put into effect by both sides, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said she would work swiftly to finalise the UK's association status with Horizon. The Commission's reassurances on the UK contribution to Horizon should remove one of the key obstacles to unlocking access to the research fund. The EU also has a great interest in clarifying the status of the United Kingdom there. Although the UK has been one of the main beneficiaries of EU research and development programs, UK ministers argue that the 2-year delay in accessing Horizon universities and research would have been severely disadvantaged, as many projects are multi-annual in nature and have already started without UK involvement. Yeah, but whose fault was it? The UK's. Last week, the UK government unveiled its Pioneer scheme, its national alternative to Horizon, which is set to receive the same amount of funding from 2021 to 27 as the government would have paid to be associated with Horizon. That means the UK will invest around £14.6 billion in the sector. The Academy and the broader global research and innovation community have always supported the UK's association with Horizon Europe, said Sir Jim MacDonald, President of the Royal Academy of Engineering. According to the UK government, the 4 interconnected offers that comprise Pioneer have been designed in partnership with the UK SRTI sectors and would provide them with more funding over the spending review period and across the multi-annual financial framework than would have been available via Horizon Europe if they had associated in 21. That's what they say. The offers include Pioneer Talent, which would enhance the UK's investment in discovery research, as well as the UK's already strong talent offer. Then Pioneer Global, which would complement and enhance partners' existing international partnerships. Then pioneer innovation, which would increase UK support to business-led innovation across sectors, but also across technologies and UK regions. And pioneer infrastructure, which would provide additional funding into UK SRTI infrastructure, building on programs such as what they call world-class labs. I had to say this with the "they call" because if you use words too often, they really get used. And listening to UK politicians, there's so much world-class, world-beating, world whatever, that even if they make press conferences and press releases, it's really hard to use their words nowadays because it's so used up. Yeah, everything is world class, everything is world beating. Yeah, well, they have a world beating inflation at the moment. They're not world beating. I talked about some other places with 190% inflation on my magazine channel, but still. So yes, but the Horizon Europe, which some trolls, by the way, claim that the TCA would make the EU to have them let in there, which is wrong. The TCA says they have the possibility to join Horizon Europe under certain circumstances. But all these claims from the trolls, I see a lot of really BS claims in the comments every day. And a lot of those claims are not only listening to the headlines from their famous Brexiteers, but a lot of these false claims in the comments come from the fact that people are trying to argument with such a little piece of several hundred pages of contracts and agreements. If you want to argue with the content of any of those agreements we all had to talk about because of Brexit, or in other places or other channels as well, it's the same. You have to read the full damn thing if you want to argue on the basis of that. There are some, I don't have to read anything. Well, you don't, but then you don't know what you're talking about. That's the problem. And on a lot of claims I see from trolls in the comments, I really can see that they read a very small proportion, if at all, from any of those agreements, but completely forgot all the annexes and whatever is part of those agreements. And that there's not only one thing in one paragraph, there's another thing in another paragraph that deals with the same topic or limits one topic. It's not easy, it's complicated. I know this because of doing this job here. I have to read all that stuff and I have to understand all that stuff. And so I cannot just read it once. And I often have to go back to them to recheck and recheck because it's complicated stuff. And of course, it's typical bureaucrat language, which is annoying as well. But I had to learn this a long time ago when I started in voluntary politics, and I'm still in voluntary politics, by the way. I'm not in any parliament with high wages. No, I don't get any wages for what I'm doing. I get a little bit of money for my expenses, but that is that compared to what I have to pay for if I do my job properly. But nevertheless, I got used to that language, and so I can deal with it, even let it be German or English if I read them. But the good thing on those agreements is as well that they're usually, if it's on the EU side, they're available in a lot of languages. So everybody from whatever country, from Europe, for example, you're coming from, you can read them usually in your own language and don't have to read them in English. But they are there in English, and for those English-speaking trolls, well, as long as I can see within a millisecond that you haven't read them, but you want to argue with me about them, I can't take you very seriously, I'm sorry. But nevertheless, don't feed the trolls. So if I read complete BS there, I will not discuss with trolls because I don't feed trolls, but I just delete that stuff. And that's the way it is. I will not leave completely proven false claims in the comments under my videos. And I don't care what you call this. This is my channel, and the same goes for a lot of insults that fortunately are already blocked by YouTube in the first place. I can see those if I want to, but I will not let them into the discussion, because the reasonable people on my channels, I want to have a good time in discussion. And with reasonable, I mean people from whatever opinion. They don't have to be of my opinion, but as long as then they can argue reasonably and without spreading just fake news or just the false claims that are out there just for the purpose of being right. If they can have a proper argument based on facts, everybody is welcome in the comments of my channel, and everybody who wants a proper discussion based on facts is welcome on my channel. But I won't have insults in the comments of my videos. I won't have fake news there and false claims that are supposed to do just one thing, to spread lies in the comments. That's something I will not have. And for everybody else, I hope you still enjoy the discussions. I see what's going on in the comments, as you can see, and I also enjoy when you're discussing among yourselves. There are sometimes really great discussions in the comments under my videos, and I really enjoy them. And I see the different points of view there, and a lot of them are very good discussions, and I'm really happy about those. And I wish that more people would discuss in a reasonable way like this. You don't have to agree with everything someone says. Nobody watching here will agree with everything I say, but you don't have to. But as long as you can have a civilized, fact-based discussion, that is something I wish for everybody to have. But still, I wish, of course, that you will watch my videos, and so I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.